Brewdog Ald IPA revisited.
Remember, life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. If you're wondering why I'm reviewing this stuff again, I'm simply doing it for the reason that I cannot believe any brewer, never mind Brewdog, would put out a beer as bad as the stuff I had when I reviewed this first time round. If you've not seen the first video, I suggest you have a look at that and then come back to this, because honestly the stuff I tried before was, how can I put it, well, it was just terrible. It smelt of onions. Now, as I said in the other video, that is not too unusual, because you do get certain hops that will impart some type of onion and possibly garlic flavours as well. Very fresh hops do that. So if you dried hop with certain hops, that will give you a garlic flavour or an onion flavour. You usually find it in American IPAs. It's subtle most of the time, but it is there, it is noticeable. But you get other flavours as well. It's not the dominant flavour. I mean, for fuck's sake, who wants to drink beer that tastes like onions? Well, I could well ask Brewdog that on the strength of that other can. Now, I was mooching about in Aldi's today, and I saw a can of these. They've got a fresh batch of them in, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to review that again, because I've watched other reviews since, and everybody's going, oh, it's very nice, it's very, you know, fruity, very good value for money. And I just thought they have to be drinking a different batch of beer, because the stuff I had, people might think, you know, yeah, I've got problems with Brewdogs and how they work and how they operate, yeah. But when it comes to the beer, I will always give, I don't care who it is, I will always give them a fair crack at a whip. Now, certain brewers in the past have produced some beers that I thought personally were very subpar, but everybody has been, you know, raving about them, especially new beers that have just come out, and I've not really liked them. And then, you know, when you see subsequent reviews, you think, well, have I got a bad one? B, have I been unjust in giving them a bad review? And or C, am I getting flavours that they're not, and vice versa? So I don't know. So this is the reason I'm revisiting it. You know, if I see a lot of people, and I never look at reviews before I do my own reviews. I don't want to be influenced. You know, if there's a beer that's come out, and I've seen a few of them, you know, in the past where they've been ranting and raving how great these beers are, and I've bought them, and they really haven't lived up to my expectations, and vice versa, where they've panned other beers, I've really liked them. And I get that a lot from American reviewers who try British beers. They're completely thrown by the notion of a malty type beer rather than a hoppy type beer. So this is the reasoning behind it. And as I say, you know, I'm not a fan of Brewdog as a company and as employees from what I've read, and I don't like the tactics, and again, the equity for punks. I'm not even going to go there. There's a video about that. I'll suggest you watch that. But as I say, I am willing to give beer a second chance. So that's why I've got this. A 330ml can, it is 4.7%. As you can see, it looks like the Aldi livery, and it goes back to a Twitter spat when they produced their anti-establishment IPA in an attempt to copy the punk IPA. Again, I didn't get the flavours in that the anti-establishment IPA that people were talking about, it just tasted really bad. But the Punk IPA, it was okay. And it was fucking light years ahead of the Aldi stuff. So, you know, Brewdog won on that one. But this is where it goes back to. They sort of stole the livery from their old style cans. They made it light blue. You've all seen the videos. But in response, and on Twitter, they had a bit of a spat, and they've come up with this Ald IPA. So, with that in mind, let's get this thing investigated. Right, now the last time I did this, I was immediately hit by a massive smell of onions that came from the can. Now, hopefully, that really isn't forthcoming. Let's see when I pour it out what we get. And that's what it looks like in the can. Sorry about this glass, it's quite dirty. Our dishwasher is playing up again. There is a lot of carbonation in that. On the nose. Yeah, see that smells a bit more palatable than the stuff I tried. Now, I was accused of, you know, oh, you're doing this because you don't like Brewdog, etc. You've just been eating onions, or you've been, you know, you're not getting it basically. So this is why I'm trying this again, and I got a completely different aroma. On opening the can, it stunk of onions. That is the fucking gospel truth. I am not lying. That is what it smelled like. I don't know what Percy's barking at. There is a very, very, very small hint of that aroma that I got, but it's nothing like it was. And this actually doesn't smell too bad. It's quite fruity. There's some grapefruit on there, quite a bit of grapefruit. A little bit of orange on there too. Yeah, it's smelling more like it's smelling more like an IPA than it was the last time I tried it. So let's get it down my fat Gregory, see what it tastes like. Yeah, that isn't too bad. There's a lot of grapefruit bitterness on there. Quite malty as well. I'm getting some malt on there too. Like I wouldn't say a biscuit. Yeah, I suppose it is like a bready type biscuit malt. Quite a bit of pine on there too. Quite orangey as well. I'm getting some orange in there. And it's okay. That isn't too bad. For £1, I think it was £1.40 or something like that. I've got the receipt downstairs. That doesn't taste too bad for the money. I will say that. And they called it a Session India Pale Ale. I don't know whether I could drink gallons of it. It's just okay, in my opinion. Certainly not as bad as that other stuff that I tried. And actually, the more you drink, the nicer it's going down. So when they say Session IPA, I'll take back what I was saying. This is... It wouldn't be my first choice, put it that way. You know, if I went into Aldi's, I wouldn't be buying this. But if it was that and a choice of their own brand, you know, the Chinook stuff that they do, the contract brewed stuff, which I think is brewed by Marston's, I'd go for this all day long for the price. The price is pretty similar. I think it's £1.20, 25 or 30 for their own brand stuff, and this was £1.40, so it's 10p. It's 10p more. Yeah, that's much nicer. I don't know what was going on with that other can. That was absolute fucking dog shit. And I make no bones about that. And yeah, this is nice, but it's all about consistency. Now, if I if I decided that, you know, fuck it, I'm not doing another review, they've had their chance and they fucked it, then I would go permanently be going around saying that Ald IPA is a pile of shit, tastes of onions, and it's really fucking bad. I'll be discouraging people from buying it, saying not to bother. But I'm not. I've given it a second chance. It's okay for the money. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. That's not bad at all. Is it an outstanding IPA? No, not really. Not in the big sense of the craft beer scene. But for £1.40, that isn't too bad actually. Not bad at all. Yeah, that's acceptable. So what's the verdict on Brewdog Ald IPA? Revisiting it. This tastes so much better than that other can. It really does. And you can think what you like. You know, I'm backtracking now. Now that I've seen other reviews of it. I'm not. I've just given this beer a second chance. And this certainly does taste nicer than the first can that I had. The price, you can't go wrong with. If they all taste like this. If they taste like that other can, you are just going to pour that down the sink, because that's where mine went. This one, for the money and for the taste, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, it's not amazing, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't taste too bad. I've tasted a hell of a lot worse and paid more money for it. So yeah, you know, regardless of what I think of Brewdog, their business practices, their ethics, etc., their, you know, everything about the brewery. In this interview, I'm not going to mention that. I'm just going to mention the beer. That is not a bad beer, considering the price. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Would I recommend it? Yeah, but if you open it up and you smell onions, fucking chuck it down the sink, because it really will taste like a bag lady's period. And there you go. I'm glad I revisited that. So now I'm just going to be impartial on it. I will tell people that I've had a really bad experience with the first can. Second can wasn't too bad at all. So there you go. And remember, beer is working class champagne.